For this first exercise, we're going to be developing a newspaper template. This template is going to be used for a variety of different exercises and the project for this unit. It's very important that this template be set up exactly as it's demonstrated in this exercise and on the instructions that you should download. If you don't set it up correctly now, it's very likely you'll face problems in future exercises and future projects. So double check that everything is correct before turning this in. To get started, we're going to jump into InDesign and we need to create a new document. Let's go up to File, down to New, and choose Document. Now the size of our document is going to be measured in inches, so make sure your units is set to inches. The width is going to be 15 inches wide by 22.75 inches tall. For now, we're going to keep it at 4 pages, and we also want to make sure facing pages is checked on. We don't need a primary text frame, but we will divide this up into 6 columns, and the gutter for these columns is going to be 0.1667. If you expand your margins, we'll zoom down to it, the top and bottom margin should be 0.625 inches, and the inside margin should be ½ of an inch. Remember to unlink both of these to make sure that you can type something different in all the fields. Finally, if you open up your bleed and slug, make sure the bleed is set to 0 for all sides, as well as the slug being set to 0 for all sides as well. When we say create, this is what our document should look like. You should have 4 blank pages that for now have 6 columns divided into it. The next thing we need to set up is our baseline grid. To do this, go up to the InDesign drop-down menu, choose Preferences, and then open up your grids. At the very top is our baseline grid setting. We want to start at 0 inches relative to the top margin. We're going to increment our baseline grid for this document every 13 points, and you can keep your view threshold at 75 or whatever your default is for your computer. When we say OK to this, initially our baseline grid will not be viewable. To turn on your baseline grid, go up to View, down to Grids and Guides, and do Show Baseline Grid. With Show Baseline Grid turned on, initially it still may not be viewable unless you zoom in. As soon as I zoom in, you can see these blue lines start to appear, and so this is the way it'll show up just so it doesn't get cluttered. Whenever you zoom out, it'll eventually disappear. Zooming in is when you'll start to see this. Now that we've got our document set up along with the baseline grid, the next thing we want to do is to create a variety of different paragraph styles for our body copy and our different headline treatment. To make sure my paragraph styles are set up correctly, I'm going to choose my Type tool and then create a text box that's 2 columns by about 5 inches tall. To be honest, it really doesn't matter if this is perfect right now. Having that text box will allow me to go up to Type and down to Fill with Placeholder Text. And this will give me just some dummy text that I can use to format and see exactly what it looks like. With that done, I'm going to do Command A to select all of my text, and then I'm going to open up my Paragraph Styles panel. If you don't see your paragraph styles on the right-hand side, go up to Window, down to Styles, and choose Paragraph Styles. I'm going to drag it off so we can see it. Everything that we do for formatting can be saved within these styles. So with all of my text selected, I'm going to choose to create a new style. By default, this style is called Paragraph Style 1. But if we double-click it, this will bring up our Style Options editor. And the first thing we need to do is make sure preview is turned on. Any changes that we make, you can get a preview of what it looks like. This first style is going to be for our body copy. So let's give it the style name of body copy. Then we need to change up the font settings. Go into the basic character formats, change your font family to Minion Pro. We're going to keep it regular. The size of it is going to be 12. And the leading of it is going to be 13 points because our baseline grid has been set up to 13 points of leading. To change up the alignment, go to Indents and Spacing, set the alignment to be left justified. Notice left justified will allow it to be lined up on both the left and right hand side of your text box. Next, we're going to give it a first line indent of 0.1875. And we're going to tell it to align to our baseline grid for all of the lines. When we say OK, this is what it should look like. Notice that there's an immediate first line indent, and if we zoom in to see our baseline grid, we can see that all of our text is not aligned nicely to that grid. Additionally, it's saved as body copy. Now let's create some paragraph styles for each of our different headlines. Just like with my body copy, I'm going to choose my type tool and click and drag and draw a couple of different text boxes, and I'm just going to type the word headline in each one. With one created, I can hold down my Option key and click and drag and very quickly create 5 different more. So I have 6 total. Then I'll choose my type tool and highlight this first one. We're going to create 3 different sized serif headlines and 3 different sized sans serif headlines. With the first one selected, go to Paragraph panel, click on Create a New Paragraph Style. Remember, it's going to be called Paragraph Style 1, so double click it. And this first style is going to be called a small serif headline. Go into our basic character formats. Since it's a serif headline, we're going to be using Minion Pro. We're going to set it to be bold. The size of it is going to be 20 points, and the leading for this one will be 26 points. That's all that we need to do for this one. We'll say OK. You can see it's saved. Let's do one for a medium serif. So create a new one. Double click on it. This will be medium. Click on your basic character formats. This is going to be Minion Pro Bold. The size of this one is going to be 40 point with a leading size of 39. We'll say OK to that. And finally, let's create a large one. Highlight it, create a new one, double click Paragraph Style 1, large serif headline, and then set it to be Minion Pro Bold, the size of 70 over 56. Excuse me, 53. We'll say OK to that one. Keep in mind that the size of these is just a general starting point. Later, when we start to use them, you'll see that we can adjust the size and even some of the leading to fit the layout that we have. With the 3 serif ones created, now let's create 3 sans serif. As with the others, highlight your headline, create a new one, double click the paragraph style and give it a name. So this will be a small sans serif headline. For our sans serif type font, we're going to be using Myriad Pro. Make sure to choose bold. The small size for this one will be 20 over 26. We can then choose our medium one, create a new one, double click the paragraph style, sans serif headline. Choose our basic character format. Remember, our font family will be Myriad Pro. Choose bold. The size of it will be 40 over 36. Excuse me, 39. Then finally, let's do a large one. Highlight it, create a new one. Basic character format. Font family of Myriad, bold, 70 over 53. And say OK to that. With that done, we can now select all of our text boxes and delete them away. And our paragraph styles are now saved within this document. We can dock this back over here and get it out of the way. The last thing we want to do is to save this document as a template file. This way, whenever we open it up, the template will automatically create its own document that's the right size, the right setup, and has all of the paragraph styles as well. So let's go up to File, down to Save As. Up at the very top, we're going to call this a US broadsheet template. US broadsheet is the size of the newspaper that we're working with. It's very tall and thin. The format, however, rather than saving it as an InDesign document, make sure the template is selected. With that done, know where you're saving it to. I'm saving mine on the desktop. We'll hit Save. This template is what you're going to upload to Moodle once you've finished. Again, make sure you have everything set up correctly. Go back and double check all of your paragraph styles. Make sure to check your baseline grid and even the size of your document before turning this in.